Very good. Well, as we have a quorum, we will call to order the Land Clearance Redevelopment Authority of the City of St. Louis for its regularly scheduled meeting held on Tuesday, May 28, 2024 at 3 p.m. via Zoom. May we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Commissioner Anderson, not present. Commissioner Koenig,
Present.
Commissioner Spencer,
Present.
Commissioner Jones,
Present.
and Chair McBride.
Present.
You have a quorum with 4 present and 1 absent.
Thank you. We'll take up the minutes for the meeting held on April 23, 2024. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Koenig,
Aye.
Commissioner Spencer,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
and Chair McBride.
Aye.
Motion passes with all voting yes.
Thank you. Zach, you're going to walk us through Resolution 24 LCRA 10852.
Actually, David's going to do that one.
Okay.
I guess I can be very efficient here. Good afternoon. This is the annual resolution that the board considers to establish the officers for the upcoming year. Historically, we have it around this time of year. The resolution before you, it does have pre-populated positions. They represent the existing occupants of those spots. I will leave it to the board members if they wish to continue in that role. I will mention that I did have a conversation with Mr. Anderson and he was willing to continue for the moment. And I will note that the positions, as you all are aware, are the chair, the vice chair, the treasurer, the secretary, and 2 assistant secretaries to certify the documents. And those positions, as I've noted, are pre-populated with their current occupants. But again, you're welcome to suggest other alternative members to fill those roles.
Thank you, David. The slate looks fine to me, but if any commissioners have any discussion, let's have it now.
Looks
If
fine
there-
to me.
Very good. If there is no discussion on this resolution, then I would entertain a motion to approve Resolution 24 LCRA 10852.
So moved. Spencer.
It's been moved by Commissioner Spencer, second by Commissioner Jones. Let's go ahead and have a roll call vote on this one.
Commissioner Koenig,
Aye.
Commissioner Spencer,
Aye.
Commissioner Jones,
Aye.
and Chair McBride.
Aye.
Motion passes with all voting yes.
Thank you. Now, Zach, we'll come to you for Resolution 24 LCRA 10853 relating to 1100 Veronica Avenue.
Yes, sir. This resolution is declaring 1100 Veronica Avenue to be blighted and approving blighting study and redevelopment plan for that address. The address is currently a vacant school, formerly the Baden School. It's been vacant numerous years. Lutheran Development Group is proposing 51 affordable residential units at this location. 17 will be 1 bedroom, 23 will be 2 bedroom, and 11 3 bedrooms. We're very excited about the 2 and 3 bedrooms because those are fit a market that is desperately needed. Larger units. This has been awarded Light Tech. So we're proposing 10 years at 90, followed by 5 years at 50, like we have proposed on previous Light Tech deals. We have Chris Sherman from Lutheran Development Group who will speak. I think he's on the call. If not, I think someone else from Lutheran Development Group is
I
here.
think Mr. Sherman's here, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Andrew Knopp will go over the points, the community scorecard, and Jake Nerup will go over the financial scorecard. So.
Very good. Mr. Sherman, thank you for joining us. Do you have anything to add to the overview that Zach gave us?
Well, I always have to take the opportunity to talk, right? So, thank you all for this opportunity. I just want to Very excited about moving the project forward. It's a prominent vacant building in Baden on Halls Ferry, and we're looking forward to the opportunity to take what is a prominent vacant building and make it a neighborhood asset again. So no, we're just glad to keep moving this important but very challenging project forward. With that, I'm available to answer questions.
Thank you, Chris. How many projects do you have going on with Lutheran Development right now?
We have Baden School, which is us as lead developer with consultation from RISE. We have Marquette Homes, which will probably beat out Baden by a couple months to construction, which is a co-development with RISE. And then we have a series of buildings along the Virginia corridor that we have ARPA funding for, that we're in the process of stabilizing those 6 properties and moving those back into good community use, as well as a handful of other just smaller single family homes that we're trying to move forward. So large projects, 2 large projects, while we have, I'll call the ARPA project a medium-sized project, and then we're planning for just future acquisition to just keep the momentum going.
Thank you. And to my memory, your entity has handled 2 large projects at the same time in the past, correct?
Prior to now, we had projects that were closing and then opening like one after the other, but our organizational capacity has grown significantly since that time, so we are in a good place to handle both of these.
Perfect. Any questions from the commissioners for Mr. Sherman? Commissioner Spencer, I see your hand up.
Thank you. Mr. Sherman, can you tell us a little bit about the Baden School? Was that a single property nomination, or was that already in an existing historic district?
It was a single building nomination. It was not part of a scattered ITNR. There was some pre-work done because it is an ITNR building, but we, at our own expense, while it was still owned by St. Louis Public Schools, but with their permission, had it listed independently. Baden, I think, as a neighborhood, as just an area that's filled with historic buildings, would be, I think, prime for being turned into a district. That's something I hope can happen in coming years. Hopefully this will bring more interest to using those resources in that community so that hopefully a district can be developed.
Yeah, thank you.
Very good. Any other questions for Mr. Sherman? Seeing none, Andrew, would you like to walk us through the community benefit scorecard? And Mr. Sherman, we may come back to you as some other questions that could arise during this.
All right, so we get a total of 69 points here. So tier 3, the highest tier, well above 50 points. So obviously qualifies according to this analysis for the 10 years at 90, followed by 5 years at 50% that we're offering. Largest point category obviously is the affordable units that are being provided. It is mixed income technically, but all units are going to be affordable at 50% AMI or below, so 40 points for that. It's located in Economic Justice Index 3 area. It is really close to, I think, 2 and 1. 10 points for that. Renovating a vacant historic structure and school, so 5 points for renovating a vacant structure and also historic structure that was built in 1907. Total capital investment of just over 22 million, 4 points. It's near a bus stop, 3 points, and they are utilizing outside sources of funding in the form of historic tax credits, as well as the MHDC and CDA home funds. So obviously a great project and scores very highly according to community benefits scorecard.
Thank you, Andrew. Any questions from the commissioners for the community benefits scorecard analysis? All right, then we'll turn to Jake for the financial impact report.
Sure. So obviously, anytime
We have a project that's currently not on the tax rolls. The financial impact will be significant, kind of even during that initial deepest abatement period. So the property is currently owned by the Board of Education, so base taxes are a nice flat 0. We estimate average annual property taxes during the abatement period of a little over $6,000, increasing to about $28,000 after the abatement ends. LIHTC projects are a little bit unique in the way we assess the taxes. So we don't necessarily look at them from an income approach, just how we would do a market rate property. Really, we're just kind of comping it out based on other similar LIHTC deals. Affordable properties have obviously restricted rents as well as higher than average taxes. So taxes on a per unit basis are pretty significantly below a market rate property. For kind of a good, standard for this one, we looked at Grant School, which is also a historic school that was rehabbed to be affordable apartments. We're projecting 10-year fiscal benefit to the city of about $91,000, increasing to $232,000 over 20 years. 10-year fiscal benefit to the school of $30,000, increasing to $155,000 over 20 years, and fiscal benefit to the other taxing districts of $15,000 over 10 years, increasing to $78,000 over 20 years. This other taxing district got cut off a little bit in that table, but this other taxing district category is new, something we're starting to include now. That's inclusive of the other 9 taxing districts beyond just the city's general revenue fund and the school district. So kind of just running down that list really quickly. Those 9 districts are the State Blind Pension Fund, Community College Fund, MSD, Metropolitan St. Louis Sewer District, Sheltered Workshop District, Community Mental Health, Senior Services, Community Children's Service Fund, the Zoo Museum District, and the library. So based on total project costs of a little over 22 million, hard costs are 18.7 million. So due to the incentive that would trigger minority compliance, which would generate revenue for minority-owned funds of about 4.5 million, and women-owned firms of a little over 2 million. We have not historically included a developer return analysis on LIHTC deals for various reasons. Our model kind of assumes that a project is held for 10 years and then sold based on capitalizing its annual NOI, which is not really how LIHTC deals operate, which is why you can see a negative return here. This does not necessarily mean that the developer's losing money, just that it would not be kind of operated, held, and then sold based on its NOI like a typical market rate deal would. This is again due to compliance with the LIHTC, as well as all the other sort of tax credits and stuff that's tied up in the financing here. But we have a net present value of the incentive of about $155,000.
We cut off at the very end there, Jake, but you asked if we had any other questions. Any questions from the commissioners for Jake on this financial impact report? Commissioner Spencer.
Just a comment, Jake, thank you for talking a little bit about the net incentives on the LIHTC projects. I think Zach had pointed out that this modeling and with the 15-year tax abatement with the 10 and 5 is consistent with most of the LIHTC or all the LIHTC projects we see in front of this board. And also thanks for the additional information on the other taxing districts, because that was one place I thought we could elaborate a little bit more on. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Commissioner Spencer. With regard to the financial impact report, for the 20-year return, I thought we were looking at some numbers that'd be a little higher than that. Is that depressed somewhat due to? Well, is it depressed somewhat, and if so, to what aspects is it?
Yeah, so with affordable deals, and certainly affordable deals in North City, the property tax bill just isn't that high. The other element, this is a little bit inverse of what we normally see, because the impacts are higher for the city than they are for the school district. So we're kind of dealing with a small tax bill, property tax bill overall, and that is the only revenue generator for the school district. In our model, we also assume a portion of the earnings taxes on residents that would flow to the city. And so there's a fairly large substitution effect happening there. I didn't alter the model, but it's assuming that about half of the people that live in this property were not previously living in St. Louis. With an affordable deal, I think that's probably a conservative estimate. I think almost all of the people that are living here are already city residents. So really, if anything, I think the city number is probably a little bit optimistic overall. But I didn't kind of want to pick and choose too much, because if you get in the weeds with it, then we could kind of have this conversation forever with every single project. But kind of top line analysis is, yeah, property tax bills just aren't that high for light tech properties. And certainly nowhere near what you would see maybe in the central corridor for market rate development.
Understood. All right, commissioners, do you have any further questions on this resolution?
Can I ask what a LIHTC property is?
Absolutely. Can we give Commissioner Koenig just a primer on that? Either Zach or I see Commissioner Spencer has his hand up. Whoever wants to run with that.
It's low income tax credits. So it's a competitive process. There's anywhere from 10 to 15 applicants a year that I wouldn't say fight for these tax credits. Sean's been through it many times. So it's there's a 15 affordable period that they have to go through. They have to be monitored for 15 years. So that's why we mirror the tax abatement during that process, during that monitoring period. So that's where we're based the 15 years of tax abatement from. I'm guessing Mr. Spencer can go in a little more detail on the pain of applying for LIHTC. Yes.
Sorry, it's a great question. And to Zach's point, typically the 9% LIHTCs are going to be the hardest to get and the most competitive. But that was one of the reasons I asked the question about the historic tax credits, because if you look at the financial forecasting, you're going to see a big number under the HTC. I think I have my glasses on. It's about 3 million on the state. So that's the state.
Commissioner Spencer, we're losing you on your speaker because you don't have your glasses on and you're leaning into your monitor.
So it's if you take a look at the third and fourth line, the federal historic tax credits, that's on the rental side, and then the state tax credits on the state side. They were able to do the 4% because they were able to access those historic tax credits, which also was going to go to my point about the low taxes on the north side right now and the possibility of Baden becoming a new historic district that would drive more investments into that area. And actually that low, property tax estimate for right now is right now. It could be much higher when that 15-year tax abatement period runs out totally. So that's another thing to consider. There's two different low-income housing tax credit programs, the 9% and the 4%. And also, Lori, we're basically subsidizing the construction. The rents in that particular project are going to be market rents. So there's a market study that goes along with their application. So that's another really important distinction with the low-income housing tax credit program.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, and if there are any other questions on any acronyms or anything, do not hesitate to inquire. Commissioner Spencer, did you put your hand back up?
No, I'm taking it down. Sorry.
That's fine.
I got to get used to that.
You're doing well. And any other commissioners have questions or comments? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve resolution 24 LCRA 10853.
So move, Spencer.
Second, request for previous roll.
Been properly moved and seconded with a request for previous roll. Is there any objection to that request? Hearing none, the motion passes and the resolution is approved. All right, now we're going to turn to resolution 24 LCRA 10854 relating to security for the Killark site. Zach?
I do not know anything about this
Oh,
resolution.
it's Peter. I'm sorry.
Pass off to Peter, so.
My apologies. Mr.
Peter's our
Phillips.
security guy, so.
I wouldn't say that, but good afternoon, commissioners. Yeah, so 24 LCRA 10854 is a resolution ratifying the extension of the agreement for security services at 3940 Dr. Martin Luther King Drive. And so back in March, I brought a resolution to this board for the approval and ratification of the original agreement for this security services and the extension thereof. A little context, this is an additional extension for that one. So we publicly procured security services with Wayland Security / DBA Gardaworld. But in the meantime, we had procured the services from Century, the current and temporary security service provider at the facility, while we went through our required public procurement process. And so it took a little bit longer to get Gardaworld under contract and started than we anticipated, and that is what these extensions were for. So this is another one. But I will say that even though I may have said this in March, this will be the last one. We have earlier, like at the beginning of this month, we did get a finalized contract with the incoming security service firm, and they had a 30-day time period for them, for the transition, for them to staff up and get started. And we are almost at the end of that. They are going to be starting here shortly. So this, pending any major surprises, will be the last extension for the incumbent security service firm. And then Gardaworld will be taking over sometime in June. And so this extension brings us through June, but I do not anticipate it going all the way through June. The transition period will be happening sometime within the next 2 or 3 weeks. So that is the intent, with the request for the dollar amount of up to $32,400, which again, we won't meet. We are right now paying out an estimated amount, give or take, depending on supervisor and or guard pay, anywhere between $3,000 and $4,000 a month. So we won't come close to that amount. That's just in case, you know, there's a whole lot of overtime or something, or holidays, etc. And so that is about the extent of the background and context, but I will go ahead and open it up to any questions.
Thank you, Peter. And are we satisfied with the performance that Century is providing for us?
They are providing what we asked for at the onset, which is 24/7 security guard presence on site. They do rounds throughout the building. They notify us. They're also providing additional services related to motion sensor, security alarm services, etc. So I do believe that their performance is adequate. It is just they did not win the public procurement process.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I appreciate that.
So, but yes, as far as the performance wise has gone, there has been no issues with Century's performance to date.
Very good. And then I understand you to be stating that Century will only be charging us a pro rata amount for the time that they're actually providing the service.
Correct. Yes. And we're going to be working with them to verify those dates at the termination of the contract.
Very good. Any questions for Mr. Phillips with regard to this resolution? Commissioner Spencer?
Peter, can you remind us, I think we had this approved for security services in December, and you projected, was it 12 months or 18 months before we were going to be able to kind of start the redevelopment work on site, and maybe some of these costs would start at least to be a little bit lower? What's the current status, and is that time frame still accurate?
So I would say the time frame is probably still about the same. I can give a small update on the activities on site. We do currently have the architects and engineers and their subcontractors going on site. Currently, pretty much there's someone there almost every day of the week. And I expect it to remain that way for at least the next few weeks while they're going through the evaluation of the building. They're scanning, they're doing the structural and mechanical, electrical, and plumbing system evaluations, et cetera, and beginning the stakeholder and potential tenant conversations to build out the design and the planning portion. So that is all happening currently. And there won't be any actual construction on the site, until we get towards the end of that timetable there. But we are in full swing with the actual evaluation and design component.
I think even just getting one tenant in that space will help with the security concerns, and look forward to seeing that happen.
For sure. And we are looking at different ways to phase this out for the various tenants that may be a little bit ready sooner than others. And so, we are working with the architect to plan, like I said, to get some portions of the building ready sooner than others.
Keep it up.
Very good. Any further questions for Mr. Phillips? Seeing none, I entertain a motion to approve Resolution 24 LCRA 10854.
I'll move. Request for previous roll.
A second.
Been properly moved and seconded with request for previous rolls, or any objection to that request? Hearing none, the motion passes and the resolution is approved. Thank you, Peter. All right, going back to Zach for 24 LCRA 10855 relating to 2601 Market Street.
Yes, this is a resolution designating 2601 Market Hotel Investors LLC as the redeveloper of all the property located in the 2601 Market Street redevelopment area. Some of you may recall this property was in front of you in November 2023. There's basically two hotels being built at the former Wells Fargo site. One will be a Kipton, another one will be a Staybridge. It'll be a 304 rooms total at the property. We approved a 10-year abatement at 75%. The Board of Aldermen passed this redevelopment area on April 15, 2024. It's ordinance 71830. Construction should begin soon, and hopefully the hotels will be completed sometime in 2026. So just a refresher, this is it scored 40 points on the community scorecard. This is the first resolution of designating the developer. The next one will be dealing with the industrial revenue bonds. Mark Spikerman's on the call to answer any of those questions. We also have Andrew Knopp and Jake, if you want to rehash any of the scorecards online too. Just a heads up on the refresher, anything that scores on the community scorecard is enforced in the redevelopment agreement. Madeline Swanson from our group goes through the redevelopment agreement and follows up with every point they score. So they will be held to those points till the end of the abatement period. So I just want to be a refresher to the committee here and the public and outside this board. Also, we have Shayla Meehan from the development group to speak if she's here.
Very good. Thank you, Zach. Shayla, you want to add any context in the presentation and overview that Zach provided for us?
Thank you, Zach. Yeah, thank you, commissioners, for your time today. I think Zach hit the nail on the head. The developers are continuing to move forward, expecting construction to begin very soon this summer. It's a very exciting project that will encourage street activation and enhance the pedestrian experience as well. So we're really excited to get the project started, and I'm happy to answer any other questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Meehan? I don't see any at this time, but there may be some that arise later. So if you would stay in the line, please. Let's see here. Mr. Spikerman, there's a request for industrial revenue bonds. Could you walk us through that process, please?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman McBride. As Zach mentioned earlier, we do our industrial revenue bond process via 2 resolutions. This being the first, where if approved, the board of directors essentially states its, the board of commissioners states its intent to participate in the industrial bond transaction. The purpose of that transaction is to facilitate a sales tax exemption on the construction materials used to construct the project. If the board approves this resolution as it's written, we'll go ahead and prepare the actual bond documents for the board's final approval at a subsequent meeting. Those bonds are payable only from leasehold revenues made by the developer. They're not payable from any tax revenues. The board essentially serves as a called conduit financer there. And then we do ask the redeveloper to track how they use the sales tax exemption so that we can continue gathering data points.
Thank you, Mr. Sparkman. And I know that you have not finalized the documents yet, but what would be the ballpark of the size of this bond issue?
This one, and I believe we have it in.
The total projected costs are 126 million. Is that tied to? Okay.
It'd be about $126 million bond issue, and the LCRA does charge an issuance fee off that based on a formula that was established by prior resolution.
Very good. Any questions for Mr. Spikerman by the commissioners? All right, thank you, Mr. Spikerman. I believe that Zach had indicated that both Andrew and Jake, performed their respective studies on this. I can't recall if this is of recent enough vintage that Commissioner Koenig was able to participate in those presentations or not.
Yeah, my first meeting was January or so, January, February, so I didn't see anything if it was presented in November.
Very good. Yep. So if you could, Andrew, if you could just give us a brief overview of this so that everybody's on the same page, so to speak.
Do we have a slides here, or should I just?
Actually, I think if I can jump in and do the financial first to give Andrew a minute to track down the community benefits for this one, if that works.
I do have it up if I can share screen. You want me to do that?
Share screen, Andrew.
So this one does have base taxes of about 109,000 for the site. That includes the previous improvements from Wells Fargo, which are in the process of being demolished, already demolished. So we're projecting.
Andrew, could you advance to the financial impact statement, or do you have that?
What?
We have Jake talking about, right now we have the community benefit scorecard up.
No, I can't.
Okay, could you stop? Andrew, if I could ask you to stop sharing, I think Jake has the.
I don't have the.
You don't have.
Yeah, I don't think I can pull up the dashboard right now. This laptop's not connected to the server.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood.
Now.
Great. Well, then, Jake, proceed with your verbal report.
Yeah, I apologize. So the site does have base taxes of 109,000. That's inclusive of the existing Wells Fargo building on the site, which is in the process of being demolished. Given the kind of substantial redevelopment, we're anticipating annual taxes of 472,000 during the abatement period. That's an average over the 10-year abatement period, and then $1.8 million after the abatement. In addition to the increase in real property taxes, there's also kind of a way to conceptualize this as 2 hotels as well as an upscale restaurant, because it's a pretty significant retail sales tax on food and beverage sales. So they're estimating annual sales of approximately $9 million to the restaurant, which generates a top line 10-year fiscal benefit for the city of 3.9 million, increasing to about 11 million over 20 years, and fiscal benefit to the school district of 3.7 million over 10 years, increasing to 16.7 million over 20 years. This was presented to HUDs previously, kind of prior to our other taxing district estimates, so I don't have those handy. But if anyone's interested in those, I'd be happy to calculate them and circulate them as well. But it looks like
I got the slides up.
Yeah. Andrew found the slides. Good job.
Oh, thank you, Andrew.
When you share a screen, all your windows go away, so it was tough to navigate there for a second. Sorry.
Understood.
right.
All right, if you could proceed, Andrew.
Yep. So we got 40 points, tier 2. Only a few categories where it does score points here, and we've had a lot of conversations about this project as far as the scorecard goes. So, but it is located in EGI 3 area, so it gets 10 points for that. It's expected to create 106, just under actually, I think 115.7 FTE jobs, so 9 points for job creation. It's located really right by a planned north-south Metrolink station. So encouraging transit-oriented development, 9 points for that. Large project, 125 million, so 7 points for that. And it is creating jobs within an employment district within the city, so 5 points for that. Yeah, that's basically it. So if there's questions I can answer.
All right, any questions for Andrew or Jake on their overview of the community benefit scorecard and the financial impact report? All right, thank you, gentlemen. Very good. Well, are any questions for that have arisen in the interim for Ms. Meehan or Mr. Spreckman from the commissioners? Seeing none at this time, I'd entertain a motion to approve resolution 24 LCRA 10-855.
So move. Spencer, request for previous roll.
Second.
A second.
Been properly moved and seconded with request for previous roll. Is there any objection to that request? Hearing none, the motion passes and the resolution is approved. Thank you, Ms. Meehan.
Thank you, commissioners.
So let's take up our director's report, our president's report. President Richardson, do you have anything for us?
Nothing of substance today, Chairman McBride, but I did wanted to make sure that the committee was aware on May the 14th, the mayor had her state of the city, and we announced the new name of the former Killark facility to the Monarch on MLK. We have a RFP going out to support the development, the procurement of the workforce development specialists and strategists that will allow us to be able to attract other users for the space. As we know, the proposed uses are the St. Louis Agency for Training and Employment, LRA, the Office of Violence Prevention, but also we have received support from the local advanced manufacturing industries, Rankin Technical College, the Advanced Manufacturing Innovation Center. We have tenants that are seeking to actually move into the space that will actually be producing products that will support not just the city of St. Louis, but the overall St. Louis region, while also seeking to provide workforce development training opportunities in the manufacturing space. Again, twofold, being able to support the continuous economic development activity while also supporting workforce development opportunities for our youth, unemployed and underemployed. So making great progress there. Again, want to thank Peter Phillips for his support, Rob Orr and his team's leadership for continuing to drive that project forward. Again, building a long-standing opportunity to drive economic growth and really implementing our plan. So just wanted to provide that quick update to the LCRA board today. So thank you for the opportunity, Chairman McBride.
Outstanding, thank you. Anything else from the commissioners on open agenda? Seeing none, our next board meeting is scheduled for June 25, 2024. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. We are adjourned. Thank you so much.